What's happening, guys? Children Vanguard here. It's time to talk about what we really want in the next entry in the series, and I'm talking about The Division 3. Now, from expanded storylines to maybe major game improvements, there's a lot of potential for The Division 3 to take things to the next level. And throughout this video, I'm just going to be going over my opinions of what I think the top features and changes and improvements should be moving forward into the next installment of The Division. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the world. Both New York and Washington DC are beautifully crafted, just in the previous game in Division 1 and in Division 2. However, from the Division 3, I wanted to see something more immersive, like you are truly in a living open world that throughout the game somewhat evolves dynamically. Now, whether that's weather changes, enemy factions taking control of territories, or civilian populations playing a bigger role in the story, I want to see things like the factions having spontaneous wars with each other that somewhat may impact our actual day-to-day gaming, either that or it be public events which would make the world feel more alive and reactive. This could happen either for a week, every month or something like that, but with the combined varied weather systems like we've seen in Division 2 and in Division 1, I want to see something which would actually affect the gameplay depending on the weather of the game. So blizzards could potentially reduce somewhat of your accuracy in the weapon systems that you use. I feel like that would make it a bit more chaotic, let's say, but also have a more richer feeling and experience than we did previously in the other games. I feel like story-wise, it's always had that compelling narrative to it. But let's be honest, I feel as if throughout this entire story that we've seen, the personal stakes in it have been a bit lacking. From the Division 3, I want to see something a bit more deeper and more personal to the agent that we control. Whether that's they're finally talking or something, I don't know. But I want to see our agents dealing with more tougher morale choices, let's say, that digs into a little deeper of the consequences of taking on this new role, let's put it that way. But I feel like throughout the storytelling, if there are more meaningful choices that can impact the outcome of the story, it would add with a lot of depth from what we can see, especially with like the different factions that if they come up with news factions or whatever it may be. I feel like in Division 2 it did it well. We had characters we care about, and a story that kind of questions whether or not we do the right thing, especially with the new Year 6 Aaron Keener storyline and the Division agents us going rogue, as let's put it. I feel as if also what you could potentially get from Division 3 is a more expanded element and customization of your character. In the Division 2 and Division 1, it's been somewhat limiting, whether that be a certain piece completely takes over the entire character and there's nothing else to customize. It doesn't really, even though there is a lot of, let's say, vanity items, I feel like being very restrictive with what you can customize puts a bit of a negative impact on your personal feel of your character. Whether that be that you start to maybe craft your new vanity items rather than just throwing it in the paywall. And I get Ubisoft need to make their money and stuff back, but it takes away from the fan base who actually enjoy the game for what it is. And I feel like rewarding players in some further aspect than just throwing a paywall behind it would make people more likely want to stay further for the game. On top of that, the Dark Zone and PvP, I feel like they're going in the right directions, but there are a lot of changes that need to happen as well. I'll kind of cover that more in a different video because I feel like that's a lot more extensive. Obviously with the co-op and the in-game variety throughout, the Division shines on co-op. Without it, you kind of struggle, especially if you just want to solo everything. You're going to be missing out on things like the raid or other group activities, which sometimes can be a bit more enjoyable if you're working together as a team, because a lot of things sometimes may need some more intricate teamwork. However, when it comes to end-game content, I feel like we need more than just grinding for gear. You know, I want different kind of challenges, weekly or seasonal events that actually help you in some way, rather than just when new gear comes out, you grind for that and try to get the best as you can. You know, I feel like they really did that very well in the end part of Division 2, and I hope they bring that in with the, you know, with the proficiency and the expertise system. I hope that they kind of bring that into Division 3, because I feel like if you had that early on, it would keep a lot more people engaged in the game during the endgame content. Performance and graphics. One of the big things I want to see is something that I feel like back in the day when I was playing Battlefield Bad Company and stuff, real world destruction. I remember back in the Division 1 trailer, they showed it with the glass and everything, it looked amazing. I feel like since the kind of technology that we've had since then has massively improved, and I feel like they could just pull that off in a proper game. You know, bring in some aspects of Bad Company 2, have some destructible environments, you know, where if you're playing a story mission, some of the objects that you may either blow up or shoot or whatever maybe actually collapse and have some real effect on your gameplay, you know. Not that would, you know, impact the mission from progressing, but I feel like just more destructible environments that actually work in your favor, so that every time you either replay a mission or something, it feels somewhat different, either that be visually or just in the way you tackle the mission. I think that would be something that they could look into improving, but without obviously making such major improvements. And I think some of that might just result in the kind of game engine they have. I feel like if they wanted to move for that, it might be that they have to upgrade it, just because I feel like that is a bit more complicated and it's probably not within the system they used to create Division 2. But for me personally, that's kind of the basics of what I want to see coming in from the Division 3. You know, that's my wish list, that's where I'll put it. But, you know, I want to hear what you have to think, you know, what you want from the Division 3. So drop your thoughts in the comments below, and just give me your opinions. You know, if you've agreed with it, let me know what parts you've agreed with. If you're completely just had a negative view on everything I've said, let me know as well, because I am curious as to what the community think, and I see stuff from, you know, on the Reddits and stuff, and I read up on what people are feeling about the game, but never really what they want to see brought in to the next division. So, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. So that'll be it from me. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.